And we are live. My next guest on this final installment of Beyond a Doud for 2021 is a man who joined us for the podcast final installment of 2020. He's a writer and video maker at GSMArena and an all-around awesome dude who I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I first met on a trip to New York about 5 or 6 years ago, and we've just been buds ever since, and that's awesome. Since then, he's made Miami his stomping ground. So as I record this podcast in a parka, he's probably chilling back in a swimsuit with a mojito or oh, and this is funny. Like I wrote this yesterday, but the rest of my script goes, or at least he would be if it wasn't inappropriately early. And we just had that conversation about your truly Enrique Villacrez, RickyVtech. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Podcast.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. Really appreciate you having me on, and I'm ready to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, and I noticed when I just recorded with Russell Holly a couple of weeks ago, and it was his second trip back to the podcast, and I realized that the podcast has been going long enough that I can start inviting people back. Like I don't have to find new people, which I mean, I love new people, but I can start recycling guests, as it were. So congratulations on being among the recycled.
Fact, yay! What an honor.
I know. Well, we just had David Ruddock on for the second time, and his was like the second time in 6 months. So that we had like a Ruddock overload there for a little while. But he's doing some cool things over at Esper. So I don't know if you've been following that story, but yeah. So I wanted to have him back to talk about that. That was last weekend, and tomorrow, as we record this, it will be like a few days ago as it goes onto the main feed. But tomorrow I've got an interview with an AI guy from Google. So it was kind of a trip. I dig that on many nerdy levels. But this isn't about that. This is about you, Ricky. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Back to your comment about what did you say? Wearing a swimsuit somewhere?
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing really short shorts. They're just comfy around the house kind of shorts. Yeah, it's the weather's nice here. I don't envy anybody's snow pictures on social media at all.
Are they starting? Have you started to see those?
Oh, yeah, like for the last 3 weeks, I think.
Oh, really?
All over. Yeah, it's just been snowing everywhere, and I'm just thinking, it's seems early, I think, but maybe that's just normal. I don't know. No, okay.
It's December, so
okay.
No, and actually, as we speak, we've got our first snow-ish fall outside going on right now. It's kind of like that sleet, like that. It like melts as soon as it hits the ground type snow. And you lived in New York, so I know like what I'm talking about. But yeah, so we're not. Our warm weather is not long for this world, unfortunately. So I just got acquired an e-bike.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about it. But I was telling the people, I'm like, just take the slowest shipping possible, because I'm not even going to touch that thing until April at this point. So
that's
it's really no big deal. But yeah, I'm excited. I've never had an e-bike before. Do you do any like biking or cycling or anything like that?
I do have a road bike, but it's a regular bike. However, I do love the idea of having an e-bike or an e-scooter. Mm-hmm. But I live in the suburbs, so there's nowhere, and I have a car, so I don't really need something like that. If I live closer to like the beach, or if I live like more in a metropolitan like Fort Lauderdale,
sure,
maybe that's something that I would probably invest in. But
okay.
Yeah, I can't find a need for it right now. I wish I could. Those things are cool. Yeah.
No. So I'm a little blessed. First of all, congratulations on your car crossing 200,000 miles. Saw that.
Almost. So yes, thank you. It's almost 13 years old.
Oh my God, really?
Wow. Yeah. For a BMW, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah. Well, and hey, it's a Beamer, so it's got street cred, so that's cool. But yeah, so like, as kind of same thing with me. I live in the suburbs, but since I work from home and since my family's gone from school all day, this is the type of thing that I could use for like a quick jaunt over to like, the T-Mobile store or something like that, or something like that. But it has like, I was reading about it. I've like I said, I've never had, and this is like one of those pedal assisted e-bikes. It's not like fully electric where you can like, just scooter around or anything. So there will be some work involved,
Sure.
from what I understand. But like I could, I think the spec said you can get like 40 to 60 miles out of a single charge. So like
Wow.
I could take that to like my mom's house and back if I wanted to. It would take me probably twice the time it would take me to drive. But if I'm getting a decent workout at the same time, that's legit. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. Like I said, I've never had one before, so I'm not even sure like how often I'll use the e-bike part of it. So, and a lot of times they'll have like regenerative braking. So like, they'll recycle some of the power, but that actually kind of adds some torque to the wheels. Not a fan of that. So again, we'll see. It's a Schwinn, which 20 years ago would have been amazing. These days, not so much. But yeah, so we'll see. It was a stroke of luck, literally, that I was able to pick that up. But.
So is this like a Black Friday deal or a Monday deal?
No, it was actually a raffle through work.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. So like, I bought like a few tickets, and it was for a charity, so it was for a good cause. And never expected to win, especially like the new guy who's been here for a week and a half is gonna like swoop in and grab the bike out from everybody. But so yeah, I may have made some enemies in my first week at Digital Trends, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But so how long have you been with GSMArena at this point? It's been a minute. I mean, it's been a while.
It's been a while. So but as of October, this past October, it's been 6 years.
6 years. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's been.
Oh, I was gonna say. So, did you get your start at GSMArena, or did you? I'm a little familiar with the early career of Ricky V. So,
Sure. No
walk
problem.
us through the resume there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem at all. So, so here's the story. I spent my college years, which I'm talking like 2011 to 2015.
Okay.
Like consuming tech, reading tech. I read Laptop Magazine a lot. I really enjoyed from Laptop Magazine. I really enjoyed the mobile aspect because they covered a lot of phones on these paper magazines.
Yeah.
And I would read about them so much. And eventually that ended up me going online and looking at stuff. And so a lot of these people that I know now, I was following way back when. But so I went to college for business, and I was working for my dad at the time. And my dad works in industrial manufacturing, and so I have some background in CNC machining and like 2D design and some 3D design, like sheet metal kind of stuff. So I know my way around a lot of these things. Yeah. And fabrication and stuff. So on my last year of college, I was like, okay, I need to get another job. I want to do something I enjoy. I want to do something tech related. And so I found a job working at Samsung retail in Best Buy. Okay. So this was 2015. No, by this point it was 2014. And I found a job for Mosaic. They had their workers representing Samsung retail reps inside Best Buy. Like the Samsung booth they had at Best Buy, I was working at those. At one of those locally here in South Florida. And then like towards the end of my college years, my partner and I decided to move to New York. We need to move to New York. We need to, get ourselves out there and just get away from Florida for a bit. And I'm glad that we did. So that ended up being okay, telling my manager, the district manager for Samsung, like, okay, this is what's happening. I'm ready to go, but there's no openings yet. And they're like, okay, this is what you have to do. You have to resign. But then when a position opens, I'm going to recommend you because they really like me there. Because I knew my stuff and I really liked being around like these Samsung things. And Samsung things were easy to sell. Like they sold themselves, and people would love to come in for those 7-inch tablets.
Really?
Those were, oh yeah. Because I was hired during the holiday season. And so we would have stacks of those tablets, and they would just be gone for like the holidays. So anyway, moved to New York. This was early 2015. And moving to New York, I decided, okay, I'm gonna buy a camera. I'm gonna learn how to use it. I'm gonna learn how to make videos. I'm gonna make like tutorial videos on YouTube. And there are some videos I made while I just moved to New York. I was actually looking at them yesterday, and
Okay.
they make me cringe. I make myself cringe.
Mm,
But that you got to start somewhere, right?
I'm
So
familiar with that feeling. Yes.
so I was about to be rehired for this Samsung job, a few months after I moved there, and I had an interview. I'm getting to the part finally where it clicks. I promise.
Yeah.
So it's I get an interview for Samsung retail, and before the interview, I figured, they're probably going to ask me about like the latest Samsung phone, which at the time was the Galaxy Note 5.
Okay.
And so I look up Note 5 specs, and naturally the first result to come up was GSMArena.
Right.
And when I go on GSMArena, look up the specs, at the top there's a banner that says that they're hiring in New York a writer.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, damn, hiring a writer in New York. And I was just thinking like,
I know
could I do that?
words.
Could I do this? I know words. I like that. I know words. I could do this. I was like, I could probably write about this. I think I could write really make this my own. And so they were looking for a writer. They were looking for somebody who was willing to learn YouTube and video as well, because they were also building their channel from like the bottom at that time.
And look
so,
at you! You just bought a shiny new camera. So
yeah. I mean, it's like, after I got both offers for Samsung and for GSM the same weekend.
Haha.
And so I told Samsung retail, I was like, thank you, but I have another offer. I'm all set. And so really GSM was my first, well, technically Samsung was my first tech job, but this is like the tech that I want to be in job.
Sure.
And so that's pretty much where it started. And it's since 2015 holiday season.
That's awesome.
I got hired 2015 October, and then in January they were ready to send me to CES. They shipped me to CES, my first CES, and just like my first real event where I started to meet people. One of the first people I met was Fisher, and Jaime Rivera and Hayato, all among the first people I've ever met that I already knew who they were in the industry. Oh, and John Velasco. He was actually the first person I saw and met from the tech field, the tech space.
So wait, this was 2016?
This was CES 2016.
That was my first year too.
That was your first CES.
Yeah,
okay.
it was.
It was your first year in tech as well?
No, I'd been kind of lurking around for a couple of years at that point. I finally convinced Tony to send me in 2016. And it's funny, I'll always remember that it was 2016 because as I was wandering around my hotel, I saw that the Cubs are one of the favorites to win the World Series that year. And I'm like, I could just put $50 down and just who cares, so I really thought about doing it, but then I'm like such a Vegas noob. I did not know how to place a bet. So I ended up not placing the bet, and the Cubs won the World Series that year. And I figured it out. Like I would have won, it was like $130 or something like that if I'd put down 50. So like it was like 5-4 odds. They were like very heavily favorite. So I figured out I would have won like $130 or something like that. I'm like, but I literally could not figure out how to place a bet in Las Vegas. That's how much of a noob I was. So, but yeah, and it's funny because the names you're mentioning, obviously the Pocket Now group, that's who I was there with, and so chances are I must have met you that year, but I don't remember it either, and that's okay.
I met them. Well, I started interacting with them mostly at Pepcom or Showstoppers, one of the two. I don't remember which one.
Okay.
Jaime was working and doing his speed editing on his MacBook. And so I just remember seeing that. And someone next to him was like, dude, it's so amazing just watching you edit. This was doing the daily and everything. Yeah.
It was one of those shows. I don't remember which one, but someone stole my cane
Oh no.
at one of those shows. Like I have a very old injury from like 2003 where I like popped my knee, and I didn't have insurance at the time, so I just had to let it heal naturally, because healthcare in America sucks. But anyway, and so like whenever I go to a place where I'm going to be walking around a lot. I'm sorry, I've got a dog like wandering around here and he's making noise. So
I don't even hear him.
shush. Okay, well, I will when I'm editing, and that'll drive me nuts.
Oh, true. Okay.
So because of this old injury, I've
Yeah.
got whenever I'm going to go anywhere where I'm going to walk around or stand around a lot, I usually take a cane with me because I'm 44 years old. I don't care about pride. So like, I'll hobble around on a cane, and you know what? People are a lot nicer to you when you have a cane. It's interesting. But anyway, so I was at one of those shows, and I like just leaned it up against the wall and wandered off to go do something. And when I came back, it was gone.
Oh
And
my
I just remember saying to myself for the rest of that night, I'm like, who steals a cane? Like, come on. Camera bag. I get it. Actually, Fisher had his camera stolen earlier that show.
Oh no.
From like, I think it was CES Unveiled. It was like the first event that we went to.
Yeah.
And then like, but I'm like, a camera, I get. Computer, I get. A cane? Come on. That's not cool.
I mean, after walking CES so many hours, maybe the first thing someone said was, "Oh, look, a cane. This is going to be great.
This is going to be amazing."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, that sucks. That sucks for real.
But I mean, whatever. I bought another $20 cane from the nearest Walgreens, but still, it's just like I was just taken aback by the fact that someone stole a cane. Like, I don't care about having to buy a new cane. I was just surprised that anybody bothered in the first place.
I know that other people in the community have had their stuff stolen, and I'm just glad that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah. I totally agree. And
Yeah.
like I've heard horror stories about like Barcelona and like getting mugged in Barcelona and everything. So yeah. But are you going to CES this year?
Yes, actually.
Really?
I am.
Okay.
Mhm.
All
Me
right,
and
'cause-
Marvin are both going this year.
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
you're going representing GSMArena, I'm guessing. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because there's been talk around Digital Trends about who's going, and I think they settled on like the section editors are going to go, and so like the staff writer peons like me need to need to run things from home. But I told everybody, like, even before they made the job offer there, I'm like, just so you know, I'm going to be in Disney for the first 2 days of CES, so I won't be very much good to you anyway.
Disney Cali or Disney Orlando?
Disney Orlando.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going there for New Year's Eve.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
with some friends. And so like I'm gonna be there on the 3rd and the 4th, and like I don't mind flying straight to Vegas from Florida. I told my wife that is a very real possibility. But as it turns out, like if I worked in any other section, maybe there's an argument to send me there. But mobile, you'll be done with that in a day.
Yeah.
you're gonna hit TCL, you're gonna hit Motorola, Lenovo, and it'll probably be mostly Lenovo there. You might hit like a Vivo or something like that. They might be there, but I mean, really, that's about it. And then it's just a bunch of like batteries and chargers and cases and stuff like that. So. Yeah, so I told them if they need a floor monkey to walk around for 3 days, I can do that. But otherwise,
Floor monkey.
Well, I mean, to go see the crazy crap that that nobody else wants to go see.
Yeah.
But I'm working my way up. So I'm the new guy there, so I have low expectations of like what I'll be able to do, except for winning an e-bike. Apparently, that's on the list. So
A list of achievable goals. Win a bike.
Yes, absolutely. So I was gonna go somewhere with that, and I completely lost my train of thought, so this will all get edited out. But
It happens. No worries.
yeah, so CES 2021 was a virtual affair, and to some extent a little bit more enjoyable. This year is going to be kind of like a big old hybrid events. So like, are you planning on are you planning on doing like mostly in person type meetings, or are you still going to be doing virtual stuff even from like the hotel room in Vegas, or
No,
how's that shaking out for you?
no. If I'm in Vegas, I'm gonna be going in person. I got my
Okay.
three. I got my three vaccines. I got my mask. I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to start
Yeah.
making this content.
Okay.
So that's how I see it. I feel like obviously for obvious reasons, this CES is going to be very different. Other
Mm-hmm.
CESs, there's so many people. Everyone's all over each other. Hi, hug, handshake, and I think this year is going to be different. There's going to be more precautions. There's going to be less people. I'm hoping there's going to be less people on the floor. Um,
Right.
nice caption, by the way.
Thank
CES
you.
2022. WTF? So yeah, I just feel like this year's for sure going to be different. People are going to be more cautious. People are going to be wearing their masks, and
Are they
and
though?
there's some. I would hope so. There's actually some people. There's actually some events going on outside of CES that require vaccination proof. I think
Oh,
CES
nice.
itself is
Okay.
also requiring vaccination proof.
I believe they are. Yeah.
Yeah. So that just makes things better. And then with the mask on top of that, I think there's gonna be less cases of the CES flu this year.
I hope so. I hope so.
I would hope so. Yeah. So it's
Although, you're requiring proof of vaccination. You're inviting the tech crowd, to all gather. Chances are these people have heard of Photoshop, so maybe we can't be all that confident about it. But then again, CES is going to be a lot of like foreign people coming to America, where they actually take things seriously. So maybe it'll be okay that way. So. But yeah, I mean, I would like to go. I don't mind. Like, I know a lot of it. It's kind of the trendy thing to like say, oh, I gotta go to CES now and blah blah blah. And it's like I still like going, although I've only been there twice, so maybe it just hasn't rubbed completely worn off for me. But like, I like CES. I just don't like Las Vegas. It's just too big for me.
I agree on that. So this is the first time I'm not getting a car, that rental car. So
Okay.
I'm taking the train around.
Mm-hmm.
There's the hotel we're going to be at is going to be right on a train station. We'll be
Nice.
able to get to the convention center easily,
Mm-hmm.
but other hotels will be another thing. There's a
Yeah.
bus that runs up and down Las Vegas
Yeah.
Boulevard, but I don't know if we're going to be taking. I don't know if we're going to have time to be taking the bus.
I'll tell
It's
you.
going to be a case by case basis.
Yeah, in 2019, when I was there, I took that bus somewhere, and the bus driver was like very, very sick when driving us, like to the point where he was like coughing into a bag, and I don't think it was just coughing. I think there was more coming out. And
Eh.
like while he was driving, and I'm just like, yeah, you need to go home, dude.
he got the CES flu.
Yeah, or something. But I've never actually been bitten too hard by the CES flu. But you know what? I bet I know, at least for CES, I bet I know why so many people get sick at CES. It's because Las Vegas at that time is roughly about 50 degrees, 50 to 60 degrees, somewhere in there.
It's
So
cold.
there's enough of a chill in the air that you want like a jacket, but then you go inside and it's like 80 degrees in there, and you're like, and you keep going like outside, inside, and like I just think your body's just like, screw it, I'm out. I'm done. So I'm just gonna shut down. You're gonna keep doing this to me. I'm not digging it. So like, yeah, I think that's at least a part of the reason why so many people come home from CES sick, is because they're just because you go inside and you're so hot, and then you're like going outside for, and I'm just gonna be outside for a couple of minutes, so you don't bother putting a coat on, and then like by the end of your trip you're freezing, and so that's what I'm thinking. That's my working theory as to why so many people get sick at CES. Oh, and COVID. But but my working theory is because of the coldness. So,
Yeah, it's the coldness. It's so many people there. It's flu season. Everyone's
mhm.
traveling from internationally. It's just like a breeding ground for
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
flu.
I
You know,
guess. But
unofficially, allegedly. By the way.
Right. Hopefully just the flu, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But all right, well, cool. I hope you have a good time at CES. I hope you get a lot of coverage done, and I hope that'll be a great time. You say you're going with Marvin, so that'll be like
Mm-hmm.
a fun little side vacation. Is he like employed by GSMArena when he goes with you, or is he like a contractor, or is he just there for the free booze?
Basically the last one. I mean,
Okay.
he's yeah. Like he helps me out. But yeah, no, we're just there working. We're there getting coverage. He's helping me with my cameras, he's helping me with my gear, he's helping prepare, coverage and stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It's good to have someone who's like there to help you out, because like I know so many people go there like just they're flying solo,
Yeah.
and if I were if I were to go, I would probably be there in support of AJ, who's my editor at Digital Trends. So like I might be his Marvin, like helping set things up and like
Yeah.
making phone calls and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's all right. That's right. So, are you much of a gamer? I don't remember that. Do you do the games?
Not a lot.
Okay.
I have like 3 games on Steam. Like I don't play a lot of games. I have a Switch.
Okay.
I play some Nintendo games, but not
All right.
not really too much gaming.
That's legit. Reason I asked was because I
Yeah.
was thinking about that. They just had the Game Awards, I think it was the other day,
Hmm.
and Google announced that Google Play games were coming to Windows PCs. So that's a little crazy. I'm still trying to process that. Like, I need to talk about that this weekend on the podcast, and so I figured maybe I'd bounce it off of you and see what you're
Sure.
thinking, so that way I can steal all of your good ideas. So, but like Google Play games coming to PC is not a minor thing, right?
It's an interesting prospect. So, okay, this is how I see it right off the bat. I did see the story that
Mm-hmm.
that Google Play Games was coming to Windows 11. Now,
Yeah.
what this means is that Android games are basically coming to Windows 11, and what that means is, since it's Google Play Games, you're going to be able to play games on your phone and then get to your computer and then continue the progress of the games on your phone on your computer, because that's what the whole
Yeah.
premise of Play Games, Google Play Games is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be interesting to see compatibility, because all these games are normally designed for touchscreen input. But
Yeah.
what if your computer doesn't have a touchscreen? Am I going to be able to map buttons? Am I going to be able to use a game controller? There are
Right.
some questions to answer there. But I mean, it's going to really ultimately help Google's bottom line, because it's going to give Google's, it's going to give people who play Android mobile games another opportunity to continue spending time on that and
Right.
potentially spend more money for Google's revenue to go up.
Right.
So that's just immediate impressions that I get from
Yeah.
it.
So, like, my first thought was like, if you're getting Google Play games, why not just get Google Play? Because they were, Windows 11 is bringing the Amazon App Store, such as it is, to Windows computers, so that you can run, your Android apps on. But then now Google's bringing over Google Play games, and it's like, isn't that like, wouldn't it be such a small step to just take the rest of Google Play and put it onto your computer as well? Like, isn't that like, because it seems to me you're going to need a lot of the same services, and I'm not this level of nerd. Maybe you are, I don't know, but like I'm not this level of nerd. But it seems to me like a lot of the back end processes that Google would need in order to get Google Play games to work on an Android PC, on a Windows PC, would be the same that you would need to get like Netflix to run on a Windows PC.
So I completely understand what you're saying, but
Hmm.
I think that the level is more about competing with Steam, for example.
Okay.
A hub for games, competing with, but then not competing with Microsoft's App Store, because Microsoft also has their own Windows apps.
Such as it
So,
is.
such
Right.
as it is, exactly. So maybe for now, in order to test the waters, they figure
Mm,
that with the most revenue, opportunity, they would use Google Play Games to do that, to test the waters. That's
yeah.
my theory, anyway.
Yeah.
That I just pieced together right now in my head.
Yeah. And that's legit. So, and I kind of wonder, and it was also like such an afterthought during the awards. So, like the backstory here is that for Digital Trends, we got a press release, you know, up ahead of time, and the embargo was quote when the host mentions it on the show, then you're allowed to publish. And we're like, that's not helpful. So we had it all like written up, and then we had to like watch the show to see. And I mean, they gave us an estimated time, and I would
Okay.
say all told, I only watched about 10 minutes of the show because I just had to watch it long enough to see, this news drop, and then we could go ahead and push the button. Um, but and it was such a like a half mention, like they cut to the host like here's the game award, and here's the award, and here's the people giving their speech. Cut over to the host. By the way, Google Play Gaming's coming to PC. Let's go on to our next category. And we're just like, what did he just say? What? Okay, so push. Yeah, okay. I mean, it was such a yada yada in the show. But
I mean, it makes sense. They're trying to get that message to the gaming audience. So
yeah.
that's the best way, I guess, is to do it during the gaming awards.
Yes, but not get in the way of any of any actual awards going on. And I think it was such a gaming move to announce like, hey, here's this huge thing coming next year. And like, I don't know how closely you follow the gaming community, but like when you watch like things like E3 and the video game awards, they'll show trailers for the trailers that they're going to show next year for the game that they're going to release 2 years from now.
Wouldn't that be a teaser?
Well, you'd think so, but I mean, like, I saw Keanu Reeves introduce Cyberpunk 2077, right? Cyberpunk
Yeah.
2077. I saw him on stage introduce a trailer for a game that wasn't coming for 2 more years. Like, but that's how the gamers game. As I've had this conversation with a number of gamers, and they're all okay with it. I don't know why, but they're all okay with it. Like, they'll just build up this hype machine like for literal years, and then like when they finally release it, everybody's disappointed because that's kind of like the only inevitable result of all of that. But anyway, so that's fine. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that sucks. Yeah, I mean that's to announce a game that's coming in 2 years. It's a long time to be announcing something. And I know Cyberpunk had this whole thing, and they had their whole fiasco, and the people's expectations were destroyed, and their games were buggy. And I was one of the ones. Actually, the few games I had, I did buy Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. I got it on Steam. I got it for PC, and I played through the first act, and then I couldn't continue the second act because there was a bug where the game wouldn't trigger the next event because I don't know why. And so I had to keep shooting into like nothing off a helicopter. So it's because there's a helicopter. So there's a part where the helicopter is circling around a roof of a building.
Yeah.
And I was circling around the building for like an hour trying to figure out why it wouldn't stop and land because I already killed all the bad guys. Like why can't this continue? And I think awesome. I think I looked it up and it says something like, "Oh, shoot in the shadows or something," and then something will trigger.
There's like one extra guy or something.
There's nobody there.
There's nobody here.
There's nobody
I'm done
here.
Shooting. Can we land, please? That's hilarious. So I've actually we're actually talking on a Lenovo Legion gaming laptop that I'm testing out, which actually the review of this was supposed to go up tomorrow, but it got bumped by the AI guy, so the Lenovo review is going to have to wait until the new year. But whatchamacallit, so I was trying to decide like what games to download, and Cyberpunk was a candidate, but I ended up downloading Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh, that's a great one. Okay.
It's a fun game, and it's so cool. And so I had to steal my son's Xbox controller because I don't even have one. That's how little I game. So I've been like flying around my neighborhood and be like, oh, there's the house. And like, the other day, have you ever been to Hoover Dam?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so the other day I was feeling adventurous. I've only been the one time, that was in CES 2019. But the other day I was feeling adventurous, so I took off from McCarran, and I flew like at 30 feet down the strip, like just because I could, and
Right.
there's no one to stop you. And then I flew over to Hoover Dam, and just for fun, I flew down under the bridge next to Hoover Dam, and then like pulled up before hitting the dam itself. It was kind of fun. So
I might have to look into that. I have definitely seen footage of it, and it looks really good.
yeah, I'm wondering if maybe I should like just start a Twitch stream of like me crazy flying somewhere. Like, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's really the only. I don't see my thing with gaming is I do more like kind of like puzzle games. I don't really do action games, but then at the same time, I also play Call of Duty Mobile. So I guess that's a dichotomy there somehow. But like for like Flight Simulator, it's kind of fun because like I can just kind of do it at my own pace. Like I can fly past and it's funny because when I was sorry, I've just random thought here, but when I was flying down underneath the bridge, you know how the bridge spans like even above Hoover Dam, like it's a really high bridge,
The highway bridge,
right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's funny when you're flying your plane, you don't see cars going across the bridge. You see cars going down the side of the cliff and then back up the other side. Like
Is that a
Microsoft,
glitch?
it must be because Microsoft must have like programmed the wrong thing to be the road. It's actually kind of hilarious.
That's kind of funny. Okay.
I highly recommend going and checking that out because
Okay.
it's real trippy to watch. But yeah, so yeah, it's fun though. Like I taught myself how to land. I had no idea how to land, and I was too impatient to go through the tutorial on how to land. So yeah, it's a fun game. Have you ever played it?
I have not. My
Hmm.
dad, I think, used to have like the very old one.
Oh sure.
I don't even know what year. Maybe 98, 99. Like
Okay.
a simulator. And he had the yoke and he had like the whole setup
Oh
and everything.
cool.
Yeah, he still has it, but I don't know if it used parallel. I don't think it was USB. I think it was a
Hmm.
parallel serial port. I don't remember.
I'm sure
Game
you can get an
port
adapter or
probably.
something like that.
Yeah, he could. But
Yeah.
yeah, my dad would love it. He's a pilot. He's a private pilot.
Oh, okay. He
Yeah.
would either love it or he would be like, this
I don't know. I
isn't
think
how I like it all.
based on because he hasn't been able to fly lately. I think he would enjoy it. I think he would
Okay.
enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it was I think it looks very just the game. Some of the gameplay that I saw looked really impressive.
Yeah.
I might even have to get it. I might have to get it just so I can play with my dad.
Well, I mean, if you have an Xbox Game Pass, it's included with that. So
Oh, okay. So I might just get a trial and then then
yeah,
just play
yeah.
it for a
So,
bit.
but I mean, like, fair warning, it's what's the game size? It's like 110 gigabytes or something like that. Which is, I want to say this laptop is like, so this laptop has like a 512 gigabyte SSD in it, but I do everything in the cloud. So like I have my OneDrive sync to it. I have my Google Drive sync to it. So like when I went to put on 110 gigabytes of game, I'm gonna have to trim some folders here, so, because it is fairly substantial, and I wouldn't be surprised if I pushed my data cap this month, from all the streaming. But it's a really fun game, and especially like so I'm kind of a nerd where I'll like look at Google Maps and Google Earth and just like pan around just to like see what things look like, and that's just one of the things that I do. I'm a very aware that I'm very nerdy in that respect.
I used to
um
do that many years ago. I haven't done it in a long time, but yeah, I used to download Google Earth and just like, oh, I
yeah,
wonder what this person's house looks like from on top. Oh, I wonder
right,
where. Yeah, all the time.
yeah. So like Flight Simulator is just kind of like that, but also with the challenge of not crashing. And it's kind of cool because like when you're in free flight mode, if you do crash, nothing really happens. They're just like you're like psh, oh well, now I'm just like facing a building and I have no way to back up.
Are there
So
crash animations or does it just like
no, no,
no?
it just I mean yeah. Again, I've only done it in free flight mode, like where you can like pick an airport to take off from and pick an airport to land at, and you just fly between the two. Um, so like maybe there's other modes or something. I want to say there's like an adventure mode that you can enable that presumably would give you some kind of like quest or something to complete.
So does this game have like the entire like all the major airports, or is it like in like of the world, or is it just like U.S. or
No,
to what
from what I
extent is
understand,
it?
it's the world. I mean, like you can. I would try to fire it up now, but I don't think that would go well when trying
No,
to
you don't
stream.
have to. You don't have
But
to.
no, like I mean, as far as I can tell, it's like the entire world, and you know, it can also like not only does it have the entire world, but it can pull like real time weather data. So if you want to know
Oh,
what it's like to fly in Miami right now, and it's like there happens to be a rainstorm, they will simulate a rainstorm for you.
very
And like
cool.
and yeah, and as far as I can tell, it's like all Google Earth. It's like basically all of Google Earth. The only thing is like the one thing I noticed is like this the theme park around us, Six Flags Great America, which is like 30% of my Instagram feed during the summer. Um, they don't have the park on there at all. Like they
Oh,
have the gigantic parking lot for it, but then like where the actual rides and stuff are supposed to be, they have like just random houses placed in there. And I'm
okay.
like, and I'm guessing maybe it's like a licensing thing,
That
but
sounds actually the most probable. Is Disney there? Have you
I
looked
don't
at
know.
Disney?
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. So,
Hmm.
and like the thing is, I've kept to locales where I kind of like know my way around because there's not much of a map. Like, it's not like you can like it's basically like flying. Like there's no there's no like Google Earth or anything, which I guess I did actually once open up Google Earth in like a separate monitor and just like have it open, so like I kind of had an idea of where I was, especially when I was flying around Vegas, because like I only know the Strip and Hoover Dam and that's it. But so I haven't gotten too adventurous with going to like other places that I don't know that well.
Hmm.
So maybe I'll have to try Disney just to see if there's anything there. But yeah, it was funny because I called my daughter down. I'm like, come here, come here. We're about to fly past Great America. What's that?
That it's not Great America.
Hang on, let me bank around here. Yeah, that's the mall. That's the highway. Yeah, it should be right there. And that's like some random dude's house. I don't know. But it was like so surreal. Like it just wasn't there. But I don't know why.
I think Great America was my first Six Flags park.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
California or Chicago?
There's a Great America in California.
There is. There
Oh,
is.
well, no, Chicago, Chicago. My
Really?
dad, yeah, my dad and I were there for, uh, when were we there? We were there for, actually, we were there for training. No, was it training? No, no, no. We went to one of his air shows. I accompanied him to one of his, he went to
Okay.
a plane show in
Hmm.
Oshkosh.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we went through Chicago. And the last day we were there, he took me to the park.
That's so cool.
And
What year was
yeah.
that?
Oh man, I think that was 06, oh
Okay.
07. Yeah, I was a little kid. I was like I was like 14, 15. I
Okay.
must have been 14. I think I was 14.
All
Wait,
right. Do you
by this
remember
point?
anything about the park? I'm just kind of curious. That was a while ago.
Okay,
So
I remember Superman
okay.
for
So they had
sure.
Superman there. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Superman.
Scariest ride in the park.
It was great.
It
And
is great. It is.
that was the only one my dad went on with me. After that, he just let me go on the rides. Like he he was waiting for me. He was like, "I'm good."
So
But
like yeah,
yeah,
in '06 you would have had
I
the
think the
Raging
Riddler,
Bull. The Raging Bull would have been there.
Raging Bull. Is that a wooden one?
No, that's a steel coaster.
I
That's like
can't remember.
it
Okay.
was the tallest in the world at its time. We might have had a Riddler. I don't remember. We've had a lot of rides that just were only there for a couple of years and then they like, took them down. So that was pre-water park though.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so they didn't have the water park then. But yeah, so like so the way it works was when I was in high school, we had season passes for like 3 or 4 years, something like that, and then we like stopped getting them for the longest time, and then like back in 2000, I think it was like 2016, something like that. we got the season passes going again. So, and then like these days, it's really just me and my daughter that go. Like my son and my wife don't really care. So, which is a little sad, but we're gonna take their memberships and cancel those, and then use that money to upgrade ours, and it'll work out.
There you go. Yeah, you got it all figured out.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I love going on coasters whenever possible. So, like Miami, you're not that close to Orlando, right? You're about like 3 hours, right?
Yeah, I'm like three. Well, I'm in Broward County. I'm a little bit more north, so I'm about 3.5 hours ish.
Okay.
Give and
Okay.
take. Yeah.
Do you ever make your way over to either Universal Studios
Not
or
as
Disney World?
often, not very often, but I did go this year. I went to Universal. I went to
Oh, nice.
Islands of Adventure. In the summer, we made the trip up. We were able to get some tickets from a friend, well, at a discount.
Yeah.
And we hit up the islands, and we went on the new Jurassic Park ride,
Oh,
the
cool.
Velocicoaster. Oh my
I've
God.
heard amazing things about that coaster.
I could have gone on the ride and went home. That's all I needed. Like I got
Wow.
my life on that roller coaster. It was so good. It was just oh my God. I was speechless. And the thing funny thing about the coaster, which I think some people who look into it know, the ride overheats because
Really?
of yeah. So in the summertime, in the afternoon, like when it's like the hottest point of the day, the ride would close down because it overheats. And so much so that at the very end of the ride, there are actually water sprayers spraying water
Onto the
onto like
track?
the tracks of the
Really?
trains because well, two reasons. First of all, it's going so fast, and the wheels are making so much heat, and then also the tracks themselves are probably so hot because the track is like a dark color and it's in the Florida sun,
Yeah.
so already there. The other part is
Huh.
there are two acceleration sections, and
Okay.
the acceleration creates more heat. So
Yeah.
it's just there is I don't know if you've ever seen videos of it, but there is no slowdowns on the ride at all. It's just accelerate, go through the whole thing, and then accelerate again, and then go through the second half. And then at the
Oh,
very end, you get your massive like brakes when you slow down, right?
Right.
And so at the very end, you see the misters, like spraying onto the trains.
Oh wow.
But
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, these months must be like better because it's not as hot. But yeah, like a couple of hours it would close during the summer, during the day. And so we thought when we went on it in the first, like as soon as we got there, we went to that ride directly because we were like,
yeah.
let's go there now because there's going to be a lot of people. And actually, when we went, it was pretty like empty. The park, it was pretty clear. It was just when school started, so the park was
Okay.
relatively empty, which was
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went straight to that ride, and then we heard it close for a while, and then as the sun was going down, we saw it was open again. We were like, let's get one more ride and then go, and we did. And we
Nice.
did. Yeah, it
Very
was
cool.
very
I've
very cool.
I've heard good things about that. So like my daughter and I, they had Six Flags had a membership day several weeks ago, and it was in between arm breakings for my daughter.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, long story there. So she was actually able to go, but they had the Raging Bull is like the tallest and fastest coaster in the park. And so they had this like membership hour where if you had a membership, they would let you in an hour early, and you could only go to like these three rides. And it was like the Raging Bull and like two other pieces of crap. Who cares? And so, so we got in line for the first one, rode it, and then like we played it honest the first couple of times. Like we'd go out through the exit and go all the way back to the beginning, get back in line, and come all the way around until like I just told my daughter, I'm like, this is stupid. Let's just stand here on the platform because it was the type of thing where the park was basically empty. So
Yeah.
every time they sent a train, there were empty seats. So I'm
Yeah.
like, let's just stand here on the platform, see where there's an empty seat, and just get back on. We ended up riding the Raging Bull like 10 times in an hour,
Oh my
Which,
gosh.
like, my daughter was in heaven because like that's her favorite ride in the park. But
Yeah.
it was so cool. Like I said, you just get off, and you just wait there, and like other people get on, they sit down, and like okay, that row's open. Let's just go and sit back down and close it up, and bam, and it was pretty cool. So I know. I think I want to say that you have like a hard stop at some point coming up here at this point, or maybe I was thinking of yesterday, like when we were originally supposed to air yesterday. I think you maybe had a thing that we had to move it up early, or maybe I'm thinking of a totally different show. But regardless, we're still at about the 50-minute mark, so it's time to go ahead and start wrapping things up.
Sure,
So
yeah.
why don't we go ahead and roll out the red carpet for you, and you can pimp your shit and let people know where your stuff is on the internet and how they can find you and follow you, and maybe talk about a podcast or something that you have going on.
Sure. Yeah, amazing. Thank you. So, yeah, well, first off, I work for GSMArena. I do
Mm-hmm.
news for them and occasionally reviews and video reviews. I've also launched my own podcast.
Excellent.
It's called How Tech Podcast, and you can find it at howtechpodcast.com. And basically, it's just about having these kind of like very similar to like having personal conversations with other people who are involved in tech, or even having conversations with people who don't necessarily know about tech and
Mm-hmm.
maybe want to just discuss, like, for example, the first episode of the show, I interview my friend Hazy about her new iPhone, and she's
Yeah.
not someone who's like super techie. So in her words, she gives me basically her review of the iPhone at the time, 11 Pro Max. So it's a fun time though. It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to make tech more relatable, and I want to make tech more, something that we use so much, but a lot of people really don't know about it. So hopefully, you can go on, have a laugh, but maybe learn something.
Yeah, yeah, and I really enjoyed that first episode because it was kind of fun to hear about a phone from like a normal, like because
Exactly.
you don't
Yeah.
get that opportunity. Like a lot of the podcasts are like I'm a tech guru and you're a tech guru and let's talk about tech guru shit and like and but you get someone who's like I just like the screen because it's very bright and I can use it while I'm walking my dog or something like that. It's like you don't really get those kind of conversations. So good on you. I want to hear more of those.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I was in talks with her. She wants to get the new iPhone 13, but she
Okay.
hasn't had a chance yet. But I told her I want to go with her and
Oh,
maybe
okay.
use these microphone clips I was telling you about to do like a vlog style and add that into the podcast. But
That'd be cool.
go through the process of buying it, go through the process of like getting it paid off or whatever,
Hmm.
setting it up, and then getting her impressions. Like that's what I want to follow up on, because the original first episode I did almost like already 2 years ago, but I was sitting on it for so long and just released it
Right.
like a few months ago. So yeah, she's ready for an upgrade now. So I hope to be able to get with her and do a follow up. But yeah, the second episode we talk about cars, and then in the episodes after that we talk more about what tech means to us, and like
Hmm.
kind of get into those conversations of where did our love for tech come from, like those kinds of things. But I hope to change it up in the next few episodes. There's actually an
Okay.
episode coming up now about tech and parenting, and how
Oh.
it's because I speak to my friend who's a dad, and he has three three kids, and just like controlling their time on it and teaching them about tech and teaching them about it online and social media and all this stuff. It's so, and kids now going to school on, like, going to kindergarten on Zoom, like,
I know.
that's just life. That's like so life changing. Like that's so different than when we went to school.
I know. And
So
yeah, and like you're even younger than I am by like a not insignificant amount. So like the way that you went to school is even different from the way that I went to school. So I mean like yeah, it is night and day. And I could talk for hours about that, but don't ask me about parenting with tech because I'm terrible at it. I'm absolutely terrible at it.
so you would be a good candidate for talking about that.
No, I would be terrible at it. You absolutely should not listen to me about anything having to do with tech and parenting because I am terrible. I am like honestly, we get to the end of the show and people would be like angry at their phones for listening to me talk about my parenting techniques for an hour.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it wouldn't be pretty. But anyway, Ricky, thank you so much for coming on. This is again, this is going to be our final installment of Beyond a Doubt for 2021. And actually shortly after this, we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus and we'll be back sometime during or after CES. I honestly don't have a solid date yet, but I probably should kind of nail that down before we actually just go. Really, the thing is, I'm going to Disney and I'm not recording any shows while I'm at Disney. But anyway, that's really what it boils down to. Except I am taking my Zoom recorder because I'm a workaholic. So here we are. But anyway. So yeah, Ricky, thanks so much for coming on. And it's been a year, and hopefully it won't be another year before we talk again. But I want to thank you for hanging out with me for an hour, and to everyone else who joined the live stream, and to people listening at home, I'd like to thank you for listening and for giving us the benefit of the Doud.